The anniversary dinner had that familiar hum of polite conversation, the kind that pretends everything is perfectly aligned while carrying a subtle undercurrent of hierarchy. I arrived with my spouse, careful to wear an outfit that blended into the background as I had learned to do over the years. The room smelled of candles and roast meat, punctuated by quiet laughter and the occasional clink of silverware. On the surface, it was a celebration. Underneath, it was always a display of who mattered most. I could feel it before the toast even began. My father had a habit of directing attention selectively, praising some achievements while passing over others. My spouse sensed it too, offering a polite smile and a gentle squeeze of my hand as if to remind me that not everything needed words. I nodded, watching familiar patterns unfold. The hierarchy that no one openly acknowledged, but everyone observed. When my father stood to speak, the room instantly quieted. He cleared his throat and began with warmth, recounting the years of marriage, sacrifice, and family pride. His voice carried nostalgia, but beneath it was an unspoken weight, a careful selection of memory and praise. For a moment, I thought this toast might be safe. Then it shifted. My father turned his attention to my sister's husband, listing accomplishments with pointed specificity, his career success, his reliability, his contributions to the family's reputation. The words landed heavily because of how publicly they were delivered. Each compliment seemed to underline what was missing, what wasn't being said about my spouse. I felt the absence forming before anyone else noticed. The room stiffened, conversations halted mid-bite. Applause came automatically, polite but hollow. I caught my spouse's smile, a practiced mask of grace, and my own heart clenched. I remembered other moments like this over the years, achievements dismissed, efforts ignored. Small victories passed over as if they barely existed. Anger did not rise first. Recognition did. Recognition of the pattern, exposed suddenly in front of witnesses. Recognition that this silence wasn't neutral, it was a choice. As the final claps echoed softly, I realized the moment would pass if I didn't act. And so, I waited. The pause after the applause stretched just long enough for everyone to feel it, the tension that precedes attention. I spoke, my voice calm and deliberate, not loud but clear enough to draw the room in. I reframed the moment rather than confront it. I acknowledged the accomplishments already praised, then gently highlighted the contributions my spouse had made, the quiet support, the care, the unseen work that had held the family together through difficult times. There was a subtle shift. The words had weight because they were not a demand, they were a statement of presence. In the silence that followed, another family authority figure, my aunt, nodded audibly and added a quiet affirmation. The room's energy changed. The omission, once invisible, could no longer remain unspoken. My father's expression tightened, a mix of surprise and realization. He did not argue. Instead, he lifted his glass again and offered a correction, brief, awkward, imperfect, but unmistakable. Recognition, finally, had been restored publicly. The evening moved on. Conversations resumed, gentler and more careful than before. People leaned in toward one another, not out of obligation, but because a small honesty had been inserted into the fabric of the gathering. I watched my spouse relax, the polite mask softening into something quieter, more genuine. And I understood something. The deeper dynamics of the family weren't resolved in a single toast. Years of neglect and unspoken comparisons do not vanish with one acknowledgement. But a moment had shifted. What had been invisible could no longer be ignored. Dignity, once reclaimed, had a quiet presence that demanded recognition, and sometimes that quiet reclamation mattered more than applause or celebration. I left the table with a mixture of relief and uncertainty. Relief because the silence had been broken. Uncertainty because I knew this didn't erase past patterns. Still, I carried with me the subtle triumph of speaking truth at the right moment and the knowledge that even in a room filled with expectation, being heard could quietly, irrevocably, change the balance of attention. The night ended softly, not with fanfare, not with dramatic declarations, but with the calm acknowledgement that sometimes standing up in the space of silence is enough.